A warm welcome to The Conversation, the program that introduces you to some of the world's most creative women. I'm Chakanetsa. In the next few days, Hollywood will roll out the red carpet as stars, both well-known and soon-to-be-known, make their way into the Oscars ceremony. And all eyes will be on what people are wearing. And a good outfit or an unusual hairstyle can grab headlines and influence trends. And behind every memorable look, be it on screen or on the red carpet, is often an army of talented creatives who put in a painstaking amount of work. Today I'm in Hollywood to meet two incredible women who are responsible for some of the most iconic looks of the past few years. Zerina Akers is an Emmy Award-winning fashion stylist and costume designer. She's best known for her work with Beyonce. She was Queen Bee's personal wardrobe curator for 7 years. And you can see her creations on the visual album Black is King. In 2020, Zerina founded Black Owned Everything, a platform supporting Black artists and creators. Zerina, welcome.
Thank you.
And Camille Friend is a renowned hairstyle designer, and she's been nominated in this year's Academy Awards for her work on Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. She's worked on 7 other Marvel titles, including Captain America, and on other films like The Hateful Eight, Django Unchained, and The Little Mermaid. She also trains younger generations of hairstylists through her academy, Hair Scholars. Camille, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, you both work with strong, powerful women. When it comes to your personal style, Zerina, what makes you feel confident and powerful?
You know, I love a good suit. I love wearing pants. I love wearing long, lean silhouettes. And I love experimenting with fashion in a way that even like what I like to call twisted basics, you know, which is really a classic item. So let's say your blazer, your classic white button-down shirt, but that has a twisted element, you know, whether then it's a double collar or like it buttons to the left, you know, and there's some interest that makes it really special and collectible.
Camille, how would you describe your personal style?
I think it's like kind of like yours. It's very simple, very classic, but then I like something with a twist, and I always think about what the hair is going to look like, and always, you know, I always think about what jewelry I'm going to wear. So I always think about the jewelry, then I think about the clothes.
I always think that hair for me is like the accessory. You
Right,
know,
it
you could do
is.
like a white t-shirt, but like that hair, you know,
Exactly,
like it
it's the
allows your
ultimate.
wardrobe to be like simple.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree.
Yep.
And given that your world is hair, Camille, I mean, how much time and effort do you spend on your own hair? Is it that a case of like the chef doesn't cook at home?
Well, I do spend a little time. Like I'm going to say I'm a wig wearer, but I have a lot of wigs. So I have, you know, I have a wall of wigs, and I just go pick, and I just work on my own wigs, and I actually do spend time for my hair just to make sure that it looks good.
Now, Zerina, you've always been interested in fashion. When did you catch the fashion bug?
You know, I have to say I caught it very early. You know, I'd even tie it back to the time when my family bought me that pretty Easter dress, and then I never wanted to take it off, you know, and I would kind of they practically had to hide it from me because I wanted to play at the playground with it all day. But I'd say really in high school, I started to experiment with design and really kind of put it to the forefront of what I wanted to do in my career. People in my school then responded well. They started buying things that I was making, and I did a fashion show, and that's really, I think, what catapulted it being a real career move.
And I understand that your aunt and grandmother were some of your biggest fans.
Yeah. My aunt and grandmother, they raised me, and I think I really learned, whether it's like, you know, how to conduct myself in a business setting to just loving unconditionally. I learned that from those two women. I think all the women in my family, to be honest, I've come from like this kind of what feels like a tribe of warrior women.
Right. Tell me more about the warrior women.
They're not taking any mess, you know, from anyone. And I think they've all kind of grabbed life by the horns and led their families in a way that is just really, really strong and beautiful and really inspiring.
Camille, family also played a crucial role in your career choices. You're a third-generation hairstylist. Did that mean spending a lot of time in the salon as a young kid?
Oh, definitely. Being a third-generation hairstylist is, you know, one of the things I'm most proud of. I have a big family, lots of hairstylists, and like growing up in the salon, like when I go into a salon and I just smell it, it makes me happy. Like I love the smell of perms. I love the smells of relaxers, and you know,
relaxers.
Oh yeah, like I love all the smells of the salon because it's
Nostalgic.
familiar to me. It's totally familiar. And, we had to work in the salon. So you had to sweep hair, take rollers down. You had to earn you getting your hair done. So, at the end of the day, that's when our cousins, we would shampoo each other's hair and get ready to get in the chair. That was the moment. Well, now I do everybody's hair, but that's what we do. We get together and I do everybody's hair. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And when did you start working properly at the salon? How old were you?
I was really young. I graduated from high school young. I didn't really like high school. So I started beauty school like when I was 17. My whole life, I always wanted to be a hairstylist. I always thought it was glamorous. It's always something where, you could always change people, you can fix people, you can alter people, their appearance. I didn't know I was going to go to Hollywood and make characters, but it was something I always loved. And, I have a whole group of friends who we're still friends I grew up with. We would weave each other's hair. We would braid each other's hair. Like we were laughing the other day looking at some of the pictures of the old weaves and extensions that we put in each other's hair. They were horrendous. But we thought we were really but that was, that was in the 80s. That was the big bad weave.
I was going to say, where are you from?
I'm from Tempe, Arizona.
Because that also just dictates like the hairstyles and what was
exactly.
in it. Yeah.
So we had there's some funny pictures of some big bad weaves. And the hair back then was horrific. So you would actually shampoo the hair and it could just draw up to your head. So but we all had fun because we were learning on each other, doing our thing. And, that's what we did growing up.
Right. Well, let's talk about your careers. Zerina, you were Beyonce's personal stylist for 7 years. Firstly, how does one even get a job like that? It's obviously not on LinkedIn or...
That's true.
Yes. It was not, I wouldn't say luck of the draw, but that saying like, what's for you is for you, what God has for you is, it was really one of those moments. I had worked with her assistant creative director on some test shoots. We were young and just like wanting to shoot and create. And I met him, through a photography friend. And one day, literally, I was having dinner. I made lasagna. And I was like, young, didn't have a lot of money. Invited my friend over for dinner. He's like, oh, can I bring a friend? And honestly, at the time, I didn't have a lot of money. I couldn't afford. I was like, I need this food to last me all week. I don't know if I can afford to feed these two guys. Yeah. After that, I remember just my aunt's voice ringing in my head, like, you're never stingy with food. I said, okay, bring him. We end up spending the night just talking about our goals. And in the end, I'm telling him I want to go out on my own soon. I was an assistant at the time. And he said, well, she's looking for someone. And I'm like, yeah, get me a meeting. Yeah, whatever, and he actually got me a meeting about a month later. And I started, I did a trial for over a weekend.
Wait, before you even get to that, can I ask, how do you prepare for such a potentially game-changing meeting?
I honestly didn't, because I had been working so ferociously as an assistant. I was making money. I didn't really have that much time to really build a portfolio. So I did some quick shoots. I had some Polaroids, some ideas, and I pitched some ideas and presented it at the meeting. And I think in the end, it was really more about the person, can I be around this person every day? Can I trust this person? Can I connect? And it was much less about, they were impressed with some of the Polaroids and things that I had, but then we just kind of went from there.
And what were you doing on a day-to-day basis? What does that work involve?
It was everything from, packing a vacation, picking out what you're gonna wear maybe to dinner or to an event. But so think about it, that day to day for someone like Beyonce could be, maybe you're just going to dinner with your husband, or maybe you're going to a huge red carpet, so it's kind of sort of being ready and preparing for, let's say, any curveball, any last minute event, or, whether it's a month or two out, preparing for a big carpet or a music video. It could honestly literally be anything.
Right. You created many looks for her, but one of the most iconic started with a hat that didn't quite fit.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. The formation hat look, which was just really, really interesting how it came about. I was doing a fitting for another project that we were working on, and the hat I was fitting with fit model, just exploring some looks, and it kept falling down. But the girl, I say, well, you don't have a weave. She'll probably have a wig or something, and you know, I'll tape it later.
Right.
I'll fit it later.
Right.
But it keeps like falling back and falling over her eyes. I was actually, you know, that's kind of cool. Let me just take a picture like that. And I included the picture in the photos that I showed to B, and she loved it that way and ended up shooting it exactly like that.
And that look of that hat ended up in the famous Formation video, didn't it? Music video.
That was such a pivotal moment for me because it was one of the first big projects that I worked on outside of just personal wardrobe and you know, and like a closet wardrobe. But you know, it really taught me and showed me that, wow, I'm in a space where I really get to contribute to projects that are larger than me. You know, like think like work that will outlive me someday, you know, and to watch that one look and that one image sort of turn into a symbol almost for a movement, you know, was really like just an interesting experience, and it kind of helped me develop my voice in a way as a creator.
Must be deeply satisfying. Camille, you've worked on some incredible films. I'd like you to talk me through your creative process. Where does a project start? Is it with a conversation? Is it with a script?
Usually it starts with the script, but then I really always like talking to the director, and you know, he or she. And for me, it's always like figuring out what their aesthetic is, what they like, what they don't like. And then also start with the actor. Like really, I always go through and look at like all the looks that actor has. And for me, I'm always thinking, what haven't they had? What can I create for them that's going to be something different? So that's going to put a stamp on this movie that's not going to look the same as every other movie. And like even looking at director, like what does his body of work look like, or she's look like? What does it look like? What do their movies look like? How do they shoot? Like, do they shoot like, you know, are they people who shoot very tight most of the time, or do they shoot wides? All of those things to me, I think about when I'm designing the hair.
That's a lot of preparation and research. Ooh, okay, let's talk about the logistics involved, because I understand, Camille, when you travel, you have like 50 boxes of equipment that you go with.
Yes.
I mean, tell me about that.
Oh boy, it's just a lot of like, I'm a person, you never know what you're gonna need. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I just rather bring everything in the kitchen sink. So, you know, I bring everything. Like I bring everything I could think of. Then when you're traveling to different countries, okay, then I need this kind of, you know, this kind of curling iron for this kind of electricity, or this one or that one, and huge converters. Like I have converters. They are bulletproof, baby.
Wow.
Like you will not blow up the trailer, but they're huge and they're heavy. But I have traveled with them all around the world because it works. Plus, I mean, I travel with, you know, vitamins and medicines and herbs, because everybody needs something, and I like to have all the special things, especially if I know that I'm working with, you know, Sam Jackson. I know the things that he likes. I know what Angela likes. Like, you know, I just always have all of those things in my kit ready to go. So, because we're here to serve, and we're dealing with people and individuals. So, you know, I just love having the plethora. Like people always like, go ask Camille. You know she has it. So I have it. Yeah, I have it.
Zerina, can you relate?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from nude underwear in every shade to like a belt hole puncher to pinking shears.
That's everything.
Like everything, to hot glue guns to extra fabric, new meshes, and it's just like the Barney bag for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now, Zerina, you won an Emmy for your work on Beyonce's visual album, Black is King. Talk me through a couple of the outfits you created for that project.
Oh my goodness. I feel there was over 100 looks on Beyonce alone.
Wow.
Which is insane to think about. And there was actually some that didn't even make the film. There was this Valentino gorgeous leopard beaded lace catsuit, you know, so then we end up like wrapping her Rolls Royce in like a cheetah print. And then I had suits. Don't tell me how I found like 50 cheetah printed suits for all of these men standing around her, you know, so you got this kind of full like mono look that was just like really, really funny.
Now, Camille, you've worked on some iconic films, including Black Panther. When the film first came out, when did you realize how big a deal Black Panther was?
Well, I'm just going to start from this. Originally, I didn't want to do Black Panther.
Why not?
No, I'm just telling the truth. I wanted to do Avengers because in my mind, I wanted to do the biggest movie in Marvel. Mm-hmm. And then when I started exploring it, and I remember Sam Jackson said to me, I was like, what do you think about Black Panther? And he goes, Camille, that's going to be the biggest movie Marvel ever had. I said, you think so? He goes, girl, you better go over there and do that movie. So I went over there, like Sam Jackson said, you better go do that movie. And, you know, I'm like, it's something that's changed my life, who will always forever be. And I'll tell you, to circle back, I guess really, I didn't really understand until, I guess when it came out and it was like Friday and the publicist called me from Disney and she goes, Camille, can you please like answer your Instagram and look at your Instagram? And I said, for what? She goes, could you just look at it? And I opened it and like there were all these messages. And I said, oh, wow. It just took off into something that I don't think any of us really knew, you know, but it's beautiful that it was a gift to the world. And, you know, what Chadwick did in that movie, you know, that's why we're doing two, because of him. Yeah.
Well, we have Samuel L. Jackson to thank. Well, the new film, Wakanda Forever, starts with a funeral of T'Challa. What did that scene mean to you and for the rest of the cast? Because obviously you're also mourning Chadwick Boseman, who sadly passed away in 2020.
I think it meant a lot to everybody. And I'll tell you, when we first got to Atlanta where we shot, Ryan Coogler took all of us, like the department heads, and we went to Chadwick Boseman. We went to his funeral site. We went to go have like our own service, our own moment. We had the drummers there. We had our own like service because we all needed that because everybody was a part when it happened. So it was something that I think was really good for all of us because when I first got there, I was really quite sad and I was really having a hard time getting started. I really was. I was having a hard time getting past it. So once we had that moment, then it was like, okay, we're back to work and we're there. That scene is so powerful. First time I saw the movie was in London, and I was sitting with the lead, actually, Tenoch, who is Namor, and I was being real cool. I was like, I'm not gonna cry. People say they cry when they see it. The movie had been out like 3 weeks. Next thing I know, I cannot control it. Tenoch takes my hand. He's like, "Are you okay, Camille?" I said, "No." I could not stop crying.
Absolutely
I could
stunning.
not. No, I could not stop crying, and I knew what was going to happen, but I really got caught in the emotion of the film, and it was something that was beautiful in that moment. Like I was a viewer, I felt it, and I was really there, and it was beautiful.
Well, the new Black Panther film, Wakanda Forever, is centered around two incredible women. We have Queen Ramonda, played by Angela Bassett, and her daughter Shuri, played by Letitia Wright. Talk me through the styles you created for them. How did these styles complement the storytelling?
They had shaved their heads in mourning, and that's what happens in West African culture. So what would that look like a year later? So taking that idea, and I was like, okay, Angela, we're going to get rid of the locks. We're just going to go fresh. And then with the Shuri character, what we decided, you know, in the first movie, she was the fun-loving kid. She had the braids, and we had the shaved sides, and we had put, you know, lines in it. It was a whole different movie. So coming into this movie, she is a young woman trying to figure out who she is. Like, you know, how do we lead a nation? Mourning her brother's death, as she was still very much heavy in mourning. So we wanted to change her up. So we still kept her sides shaved in the back, but we did, you know, we made a hairpiece, and which is like a 4C texture, and we did 2-strand twist on it. Keep it very, very simple, but it's something that still is going to keep you in the frame of what we did in the first one, but still gave you that connection to the second one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, I have no idea. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Right, let's talk about the pressures that come with your work.
No pressure, dude, right?
No pressure at all.
No pressure.
Zerina, a look can make or break an artist. Also, you need to make sure the client is happy, their entourage are happy, the designers are happy. How do you navigate that delicate balance? How do you keep everyone happy?
You know what? I always approach styling. I think it's a collaborative effort at the end of the day, right? And I try not to force too much what I am dreaming about, because I don't have to bear that cross. I don't have to walk out on the red carpet or have anyone saying all these bad things about, you know, or whatever. So just, criticizing what I'm wearing per se. So when it comes to, and I dress a lot of women, I just think it's important at the end of the day, as long as when they step foot out of that door and onto that carpet, they feel their best selves and they can feel confident. Their top isn't, they don't have to fuss with their top moving around. They, you know, they can just kind of focus on being beautiful and feeling good. So I go along with what they're feeling.
Camille, being a head of department on a big blockbuster film must come with a lot of pressure and responsibility. You're working really long hours, and inevitably there must be moments of like stress and conflict.
Oh, yeah.
How do you manage that?
Well, you know, there's always going to be stress and conflict when you're dealing with people. And I say this, you know, hairstylists are like herding cats. You cannot do that. So, we're creative people, but you know, and I always tell people coming from the salon, the difference is when you're on a film, there's a lot of rules. We tell you when to be there, when to go home, when to have lunch. You can't be on your phone. And a lot of hairstylists who come from salons, they're like, what? It's a whole different get down. But if you can lend yourself and you can step out of yourself, you know, you can create a beautiful atmosphere. And that's what I try to do. And always in my trailer, I call it a place, it's a safe space. If you don't know how to do something, that's okay with me. Let me show you how to do it, because I love teaching and I'm open. And even people, like, I love people, like, if you don't know how to do something, if you know how to do it, hey, show this person how to do it. So it's always a safe space where people can learn, they can grow. And I always love that people tell me as artists that they grow when they work on movies with me. So that's what's most important.
When you look back at your personal journeys, you've both had no connections and you came to Hollywood and you made it. What do you owe your success to, Zerina?
I'd say my patience. Being a young Black girl, coming up into these very new spaces. Often I was the only Black girl, and I had to really learn how to maneuver in these spaces. I didn't, you know, I thought I had to speak a certain way and look a certain way, and when I got rid of that, when I let that go, and I decided to sort of just be my genuine self, let my little accent come out, my little Maryland twang,
I love
you know.
it. I love it.
And that, it let down a guard, and it allowed me to really learn and connect with people in a very different way.
Camille, what do you owe your success to?
Some of the very much same things. When I really started loving Camille and just being my authentic self and like speaking up, meditation is huge for me. Meditation, I've been meditating for 20 some years, and settling my mind and getting your mind right, especially in the morning, that's the first thing you got to do.
It's that, I would say that's so important. For me, I pray in the morning, and having that, even if I take a minute to have a coffee and walk around my neighborhood and like just set my own day and have that first few minutes for myself, gold.
What can be done to increase diversity in the industry, do you think, Camille?
I think people have to get out of their box. People have, you know, a box of, oh, I hired these people. Expand your horizons. Because I think the worst thing and the worst offenses have been when you have people of color and you have nobody in the trailer that they represent. It's not right, it's not fair. And every actor who sits in the chair should have an opportunity to have an artist who can do their skin tone, that can do their hair texture. And there's no excuse for us as hairstylists and makeup artists in 2023 for us not to be able to do that.
And I think it's a two-part thing, because I think in those higher level decision-making rooms, there needs to be more people of color.
Oh, definitely.
There. And then thankfully women like us, I always have, you know, assistants of color, or, you know, because you have to create that space. So if we're on set and they're falling in love with your assistant, because that's what they have to communicate the most with, maybe, you know, and then they're kind of able to sort of open the mind, the producers, and okay, you know, you remember, okay, maybe I'll call this person, I'll call that person. But it's almost like a each one teach one, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
We have to take our hand and we have to pull people up.
Camille, you are nominated for an Oscar. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And how are you feeling as someone who's always behind the scenes? You're going to have to be in the spotlight for once. How are you feeling about Oscar night?
Actually, I'm feeling really good. I mean, I'll tell you, this was the third time. So in the sense of, I've had 2 other movies prior to this where I got close, where I had made the short list for the Oscars. How I went to the Bake Off, which is, you know, the ceremony before they do the nominees. So I had presented, you know, 2 other movies, and you wake up in the morning and the day that they announced early in the morning, and 2 times, you know, it didn't happen. And I just went back to bed and cried. So this time I was ready. I was like, hey, no matter what happens, it's going to be all right. And so when they announced my name, First thing I heard was All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yes.
And then I heard Batman, and I was like, well, we'll see what's going to be. And they said Black, and I didn't even hear my name. I was gone. I was gone. I was like, I was screaming, hollering, all I saw. So it's so funny because that day I had to play it back all day. And like, I watched it with my mother. I was like, Mommy, she said, they said your name, baby. And so, it's not only just about me. It's all my ancestors who were hairstylists. It's all those people who helped me get to this place. Because it's a whole team. I totally acknowledge this. And I'm having a blast.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Do you have your outfit and hairstyle planned for the night?
The hairstyle is still questionable. I'm still working on that in my head. But I do have my dress.
Okay.
So I'm really excited that Sergio Hudson did a dress
Yay.
for me. So yes, I wanted to do a Black designer. That was really, really, really important for me. So Sergio has given me a beautiful dress. So I'll be looking good.
Yes,
all day.
amazing.
Yeah.